From Kaley Cuoco being too cool for the rest of the cast,
I would leave and I didn't know that all these ragers were going on.
to Melissa Rauch being propped up with pillows,
Didn't see that one coming, did ya?
and to a math mistake hidden in the show.
No.
It's time to learn the funniest and most interesting facts about the Big Bang Theory. When the original cast started working on the show, the guys had a certain opinion about Kaley. Because she was 21, beautiful, and already quite famous, they assumed that she had a raging social life. So they never asked her to hang out with them after work. Only after about a year did the guys find out that, in fact, Cuoco had no plans to go to parties and stuff. And she didn't even know that they were going out without her.
You guys go out? And he goes, we thought you were too cool. I'm like, you've never invited me.
Fortunately, they started hanging out together and soon became best friends. Two cast members actually became much more than friends. Most people already know now that Kaley and Johnny secretly dated for a while. And they broke up at the worst possible moment, exactly when Penny and Leonard restarted their relationship. To Cuoco, it seemed like they kissed and slept with each other in every other scene. She even thinks that the series creator Chuck Lorre did it on purpose. The actress says that he could have done it just to mess with them. But although it was pretty awkward for Kaley and Johnny to act out all this passion, they never got mad at Chuck. They just accepted his sense of humor. What annoyed the cast more was a bad habit one of the actors had. Kunal Nayyar shared a gross fact about Johnny Galecki. It turns out that the Leonard actor would stick his chewing gum on a particular wall, and did so for the entire filming of the show. That's right, he did it for 12 years. That poor wall probably had thousands of pieces of gum on it by the end of the series. But according to Kunal, he thinks it's being put to good use. If any of you are Johnny Galecki fans and you want his dried chewing gum, I'm sure it's for sale somewhere on the internet, the Rauch actor suggested. Well, Hollywood is a weird place, so he might actually be right. And here's another strange thing that was happening behind the scenes. Going up and down the stairs is a strenuous activity, but it turns out that filming it was even harder. For all the floors, they used the same flight of stairs and redecorated it to make it look different. The process was quite complicated for the actors. As they'd go up or down the stairs, the director would yell, "Hold!" The actors then had to cram together in one spot, away from the camera.
We actually all have to get very intimate down here like this, and he has to hold my leg. That's part of my own.
At the same time, the crew would run around quickly changing the scenery. They definitely needed a lot of props for this and other parts of the show. And one actress needed her own set. Melissa Rauch was the shortest actress in the series. She's only about 5 feet tall. And during filming, it resulted in a certain problem for her. Unexpectedly, all the couches in the show were quite deep, which was a disaster for someone with legs as short as Melissa's. Every time the actress would sit back, her legs would just go up. And then she couldn't get up by herself. So the crew would give Melissa multiple cushions every time she had to sit on a couch. If you look closely, you can see just a huge amount of pillows that are propping me up, the actress shared. When you see it, it's impossible to unsee. And have you noticed this? Most of the characters on The Big Bang Theory got to play a musical instrument. Leonard played the violin with Leslie Winkle, while Amy knew how to handle a harp. Raj and Howard even created a band as they played guitar and keyboards, and Sheldon annoyed the hell out of Leonard with his bongos.
Hello, Leonard. Do you like my bongos?
Other than that, Dr. Cooper played the theremin, and this talent actually comes from the actor himself. That's right. Jim Parsons can really play this unusual instrument in real life, while Sheldon is a pro at pulling pranks on his friends. And this leads us to the next fact. We all remember Sheldon's signature word.
Bazinga!
If you've watched Young Sheldon, you know where it came from in the Big Bang universe.
If it's funny, it's bazinga.
But who came up with it on the set? Turns out, this silly word comes from one of the writers, Stephen Engel. He once scooped out an entire grapefruit and put it back together perfectly to prank his colleague. When his victim went to eat it, Engel shouted, "Bazinga!" and the rest is history. The word became so popular that a new type of bee discovered in Brazil was named Euglossa bazinga. What an honor! And here's another thing about Sheldon. His t-shirt collection is pretty impressive, but have you ever noticed that the colors he's wearing always correspond with his mood? If you're very attentive, you'll notice that red stands for anger, green for confidence, yellow for fear, and blue for hope. So you can actually read Sheldon's mood by paying attention to what color he is wearing in any particular scene. Armed with this knowledge, we bet you want to go back and rewatch every episode, but before you do, watch this video till the end. Leonard, Howard, and Rauch talked about Mayim Bialik way before she appeared on the show. Back in season 1, the guys needed someone to replace Sheldon on their physics bowl team. And here's what Rauch suggested.
You know what's apparently very smart is the girl who played TV's Blossom.
He knew she had a PhD in neuroscience. Was it thorough pre-planning or a happy coincidence? It's up to you to decide, but there's more to share about Amy. Dr. Fowler's mom became a memorable character after attending her daughter's wedding. Kathy Bates portrayed her, so you definitely must remember her.
Just wake me up when it's over.
But when Amy's mom first appeared on the show, she was played by Annie O'Donnell. She had a totally different personality and was much quieter and more timid.
I honestly didn't believe Amy when she told me she had a boyfriend.
Actually, it's great that the showrunners decided to make this change. After all, Kathy Bates brought a wonderful dynamic to the series, didn't she? I wonder if her photo ever ended up on Penny's fridge? Confused? Then here's the next fact for you. Penny's fridge has always been filled with different photos, but only the most eagle-eyed fans notice that they are shots of the cast members. And also sneaky pics of behind-the-scenes people from the show. Interestingly, all these photos moved over with Penny when she finally started living together with Leonard. And here's something that might make you cry. An extra special picture was that of Carol Ann Susie, who played the voice of Howard's mother. The actress herself passed away before Mrs. Wolowitz did in the series, and her photo appeared on the fridge right after that as a touching tribute. Before you start thinking too much about it and tearing up, let's move on. Leonard's not Leonard without his glasses, right? This accessory became part of the character and kind of a way to solidify the nerdy stereotype. But since Leonard is shorter than Sheldon, he had to look up at him all the time. And this created a problem as the lenses in his glasses would then reflect the studio light, causing a glare on the camera. But it didn't take the crew long to come up with a solution. Since the glasses were fake anyway, they just removed the lenses. So Johnny just wore empty spectacle frames during the entire show. No one even noticed. The next detail is a bit more obvious. You might have wondered why we never saw the Big Bang Theory characters dressed up as Marvel superheroes. They would often wear the costumes of Superman, Batman, Flash, or Wonder Woman.
And now I'm going to the Grand Canyon to scream in frustration. I'm back.
Yet we never saw them as Iron Man or Captain America, for example. Although Rauch did dress up as Thor once, however, he was the Nordic god Thor, not the MCU's God of Thunder. The reason why is simple. The Big Bang Theory was broadcast on CBS, which is part of Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers also owns DC Comics, so it was nothing but a branding and cross-promotion strategy. Ready for another Easter egg? There were quite a few number-related details in the series. For example, you probably remember that Sheldon's favorite number is 73.
We get it. 73 is the Chuck Norris of numbers.
Interestingly, he revealed it in the 73rd episode of the show. And what's more, Jim Parsons was born in 1973. Talk about destiny. The next detail is Amy's apartment number, which is 314. This is an obvious hint to the mathematical constant pi. Meanwhile, Will Wheaton's house number is 1701. Any Trekkie will tell you that the actor's character in Star Trek was a resident of the NCC 1701 starship. You have to admire the showrunner's attention to detail. But since they're humans nonetheless, they missed something on the way. We often see the guy's math work written on whiteboards in the background. To ensure that it was all correct, the formulas were constantly checked and approved by real-life physicists. But in Season 7's episode, a mistake was overlooked. Or maybe it was allowed to happen. Sheldon's whiteboard featured an equation that was copied from the Indiana Jones movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it was completely wrong.
Let me close that for you.
But since that episode was focusing on the iconic movie, the equation was probably there on purpose. Which facts did you know and which ones didn't you know? Share in the comments below. And don't forget to watch our other videos about the Big Bang Theory.